I got a 1, a 2, a 3, and I subdued from deep in the bunker. Hey now. Metal Mike coming at you. It is Thursday, and I'm in the bunker here. And what was I thinking of as I'm, I got one kid down for the nap. What time are we looking at right now? We're talking 2:35 Minnesota time. And I was thinking, as far as the situation, how to take advantage of your strong points. We all have them, right? From being a junker or a picker or a garage sale guy, a thrift store dude, maybe focusing on clothes and fashion and being able to really go with whatever your passion is, your green thumb. Wherever it's just natural and it's just cruising. Whether, like I said, either that or you're a scrapper, whatever the hell you are. Remember, we can be all. We can be all these things. You can adapt. You can do a few. You can obviously have a main favorite that's your focal point, that's your driving force, that's your ultimate skill, and then you can branch out a little bit. The more you know about different parts of the business, or collecting, or however you want to label it, the better. Always learning, always taking it in, right? These are points that Mike, you're telling yourself, I already know all this shit. Right, we do know that, but let's go somewhere with that. So, my strong points always were getting out on the street, hitting the street, really improv. I mean, kind of a plan, and after a while, it became more of a route that I would drive, which is awesome, because it's still, it's natural. And I would get out there, and I would find the stuff. That is my best skill. Freaking digging in an old dumpster, cleaning out an old shed for a senior, just stumbling upon an old garage sale the day before it happens from the homeowner. Just an old school, a senior having a sale. Those are the golden ones. Very few, man. When I first really started taking this shit serious back in about 2000, man, that's all I found. Now most of the garage sales are ran by people my own age or just a little bit older. And it's just changed slightly. It's not too often you find that raw sale that's just a bunch of old junk that's really cool shit and unique and easy to buy because the price is just beautiful, that we can all afford. We don't go broke, not one piece and we have to leave. So getting back to that, whatever your strong point is. Mine is totally, like I said, back in the street, junking, in the dumpster, garage sales, just sniffing it out, man. Green thumb, freaking got it. In that position. And my weak points, definitely selling. Though, as a collector, that's really not my focus. I'm always accumulating for my collection. And so whatever the outcome may be for you, whatever the end result is, let's get back to this. So let's fantasize a little bit, right? So, okay, big deal, Mike. Now you told me you're a great junk or dumpster diver or whatever. You can find shit. Big effing deal, right? Here's the fantasy. Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to put together a team, not unlike a Super Bowl championship team, where you're like, okay, we've got our picker. We've got Mike, right? And then you've got someone who is awesome at doing numbers, keeping track of inventory, doing the research. Big deal, you're probably saying. This is already being done. Correct. But how awesome would it be able to be in that position to organize your team, to hunt for recruits, rookies, to bring into the game, and to run the offense as a veteran such as myself. I already know my skill. I would love to be able to relax, go out, find the treasure, and then I could have the business running behind me. And by building a team, very difficult. You know who has one of the best teams ever? Howard Stern. He's got Robin. He's got Fred, who is his sound man and everything else. And they've been together, a loyal, a good working oil team. Of course, they've had ups and downs. Read the biographies, listen to Howard, he'll tell you. But fantasy. was in the basement here. I was looking at my junk, and I was like, shit. I would like to be out just junking right now, but times have changed. I'm in the bunker, locked down, taking care of 3 kids, and such is life. How I would like to be out there, though. So I thought to myself, shit, how would I love to build a team, though, where I would be able to do what I do, and have others who excel at their strong points do what they do. Just have a couple guys, even a team of pickers. Can you imagine putting together a real solid, awesome team, diverse, all different aspects, points of view, etc. Bringing in some savvy old veterans. I'd like to go over to St. Paul and dig up like some old scrapper that's maybe got 25, 30 years in the game. Pull him in on the team, because he's gonna freaking find treasure. Those dudes do. When I worked with Gilbert, my stepfather who passed away, I call him my stepfather. He was just my mother's boyfriend, whatever. He basically, I lived with him since I was, 11 or 12 years old, whatever. So he I forced that title on him, stepdad. When I worked at his shop over in St. Paul, it was the core, it was the old school. Had scrappers coming, a guy named Moses over in St. Paul. He's the one that got me wearing a construction hat. I always dug that, and you know what? It was ridiculous. But I was basically trying to put an identity on myself. If someone looked at me, I'd wear all black gloves. I've gone through this before. And I was basically picking, though. I wasn't scrapping. A lot of times I would, people would be confused by what I was doing, but no, I wasn't out there even scrapping. That was not even my thing. I never took any recycling, none of that bullshit. And I don't call bullshit to belittle it. It just wasn't my freaking thing, so when it ain't your thing, you don't even look at it. So I was never into recycle. That's cool, though. I mean, if you do that and that's your thing, Moses did. He was a scrapper. That was his thing. Got the hard hat from him, though. Old timer, man. Many years in the game, but he would bring Gilbert some really cool stuff. Old pedal cars and stuff with 3 wheels, but some real old sad face ones. I had an awesome one. It just, those are the things that slip through your fingers when you're in the game. You've got to put food on the table. When I was raising my 2 kids by myself, that's how I put food on the table. I've always felt like, hey, I'll leave it all on the game, because in the end I can't take it with anyway. I'd rather feed my family and make sure that they have the lights on. That comes priority. That's number 1. But yeah, of course, just made more strategic moves, which you can do if you're a rookie and you're in the game. You're going to come across these awesome pieces. If you can, stash them away. It's called a stash. Gilbert taught me that. He told me, if you can't, most people can't even put $5 away a day. But if you find one cool item and you put it away, you call it your stash. And it begins your collection to grow of this stuff you can fall back on. And that's good to have, man. You always got to be thinking. And then, of course, with your inventory, let's get back to it. It always seems to be a highlight of my videos. I'm always stressing it, though I fail to follow it. Always going through your inventory. You've got to pound through it. You've got to have the energy, no matter how much it is. You've got to organize it. You've got to take care. You've got to take advantage of all the space that you have. If that frickin' corner is getting cluttered and it's starting to collapse on itself, man, I know it frickin' sucks. You got to get in there and pull all that frickin' shit out, and you got to redo it. You got to run a broom through there. You got to run the hose through there, mop that. Get down on your frickin' hands and knees with a towel and dry that thing. David Lee Roth wrote that in his biography, and I've always kind of followed that example. What did he say? He said, in his biography, David Lee Roth wrote that whenever they would play a concert, that he would get out before the show in the afternoon, after sound check, and on his hands and knees, he would clean the stage with a bucket, not with a mop, but with a bucket and a sponge and a rag, so that he didn't lose focus. He didn't forget where he came from. So no matter how good it gets, so get in that garage, man. Get in that storage shed. Get on your hands and knees. Put the grit in, man. Clean that thing out. Fucking condense that shit. Rotten cardboard boxes and shit. Get that out of there, man. And then you'll see stuff that you'll scratch your head and go, what the hell is this? Toss it. If you can even lose 2 or 3 pieces, reorganize. If you can move it out and you can get rid of it, get rid rid of it. Open that space up because you want to refill it. Upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. Hey now! It's a fantasy, eh? Fantasy football team, championship team. Can you imagine? A bunch of awesome pickers to be able to scour the country, the United States. Find the ultimate team. And I ain't talking put a show together and try to run a series. That's not what I'm getting at, man. I'm talking to be in a position financially, which I am not. But to be able to have, like, backing, like a football team, where you have money. They go, okay, here's what you can work with. And take that money. Big money, right? That's why fantasy. I'm rich, right? I'm worth $9 billion. That's the fantasy. What do I do with my time? I go out and I organize the most awesome team, and then go out and kick some major ass. Not hoard. Not at all. No way. Maybe the best of the best, but make it accessible to the public where they can come and they can see the collection, so that it doesn't rot away. There's not enough. There's not enough places like that where people can just visually, instead of a zoo, there should be these buildings filled with treasures and antiques and collections. How awesome would that be, huh? Boy, the mind can really, really go with dreams, right? That's what it's all about, brother. And it's all feasible. Work, work, work. Am I there? No. The things I talk about, but if I was ever to work this into a position, I've always said that. I put the work in. How high can I go with this game of this collecting and this stuff? Oh, I don't know. But if I had the backing and I get it done and I ever get into that situation, I only need one piece to find. You can set yourself up for life. You stumble across one piece that's worth $500,000. Well, you say, well, that's not gonna set me up for life, Mike. Yes, it will, because you take that money and you invest. You buy a good vehicle, I bet you upgrade. You buy a building. You own the building. Number one lesson in life: own property if you can get it, and then you can build your business up from there. Remember, you got to have a good team around you too. You can't have guys that are lazy or are criminals or are no good, because you're going to go down. You can't have it. You can't have guys that are playing around, and if that's the case, then you just work by yourself. You kick ass, man. You get it done. It's all out there, right, brothers? Let's go get it. Let's go find the antiques. I'm in lockdown. Domesticated, brother. How do I fall into the pitiful Hulk Hogan? You can't help it, all these voices. Got to bring humor back into it, that's what this is all about. This is all about having fun, me just bullshitting. Old school. Listen, if I had the fantasy, another fantasy, I'd have the shop, and I'd have the counter, and I'd have the coffee and donuts. But that just got woken up real quick, because that's a baby, and this video's done. Hey now!